Hey guys, E9X is here. Hey guys, E9X is here, and today I'm going to be attempting to discuss the newly revealed, I don't even know how to pronounce the Neuschwanstein? 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 Please, somebody in the comments help me. Please. I'll get it eventually. There's like a pronunciation thing in the description, but we'll get to that. Um, anyway, I'm going to be trying to do that while there are fireworks going off outside. Yeah. So let's get into it. Um, yeah. So the castle I can't pronounce. Here we go. Let's just start with going off through the images because I just want to start by saying it's beautiful. And I also really like how they are adapting some of the on this sort of scale. It kind of similar techniques to what they're using or what they used for the Harry Potter mini Hogwarts. Let me pull that up if I can find Harry Potter. Hello. Okay, there we go. Um, yeah, this. I really like how they're implementing this sort of I don't even know how to describe it, but that technique for the rocks very similar here. It was also used in or something similar was used in the Great Wall of China set back in 2018, which was also an architecture one. Um, I wish that one came back. It was really cool. But anyway, right off the bat, this is a very unique architecture set, aside from the size itself. Um, Usually we don't get foliage like this. This is really cool. I also am a big fan of the pine tree design there. And then there's also, I mean, I don't know exactly the type of tree that's supposed to be there, um, but very autumnal colors, and that kind of brings a nice balance to the rest of the set. Another thing to note, I bet there's the box art as well. I imagine it's gonna be a big box. You can kind of see it here. All of the little window pieces. I am pretty darn positive that those are printed and not stickers, thankfully, because there has not been a single sticker in any architecture set, and there have been over 60 at this point. Okay, I got a head-on view there. There are also quite a few of said pieces. Now, one thing I will say, and I feel like, I mean, this issue comes up with any larger set, is just repetition in building. I don't know why. I feel like more recently it's been more of an issue for me when I'm building something. I want it to be an enjoyable process and not just like, ugh, I have to do this 30 times. Thankfully, it's a smallish set on the like large scale spectrum, but I'm just a little concerned about the number of those little printed. I'm assuming they're printed. They look printed. Window pieces, but it does make for a really nice design. I'm also very pleased with the sort of gear piece usage there. Also, there's a road, I believe, or at least some sort of wall going along the edge there, which is awesome. And then it looks like, yeah, so you can swap out the autumnal colors for just straight green, so you can kind of pick the parent season. You have an actual setting picture, some random guy in the background. I'm gonna call him Jeb, just because. Here we have another front shot, and what look to be more of those unique printed window pieces, which look pretty cool. And I believe, actually, this is interesting. So the building instructions, because the set isn't going to be released for another month, the building instructions will not be out until like I don't know August 5th or something stupid like that. So with this picture, we're kind of getting a peek inside the building process early, and so it looks like we have a hollow bottom, which is really interesting. If you see right there, I'm a little concerned by that design because I'm always worried about when like those pieces kind of sagging when you have to put pressure on them to build anything on top of it. But because of the amount of those like beam pieces going across, I'm not just that concerned, which is nice. And then here we go. We have kind of a two scale sort of thing. So bottom left we have Trevi Fountain from earlier than this year, and off to the right we have Notre Dame. So Notre Dame is pretty big. I don't know. We'll get to the dimensions in a second, but I mean, I'm just saying this new set is quite large. Also, I haven't talked about the piece count. 3,455, and then the price 280.
Oh, Simon talked about the piece count. 3,455. And then the price, 280.
Biggest concern with a set like this is space, although I will give it credit that it's better than Himeji Castle, where it's not like a giant, square base plate. Like this could fit on a shelf pretty easily, I think. It would just take up a lot of space horizontally. Let's get to, yeah, here we go. So over a foot high, a foot and a half wide, and 8 inches deep. That's pretty significant. So, I mean, it could definitely fit on a pretty average shelf. But again, that is taking up a foot and a half of your space on said shelf. So, just something to keep in mind. And so, overall, I'm a big fan of the set and also the detail that they've been putting into the more recent architecture sets. My only issue, again, is just having the space for something like this. I just happen to get into architecture. That's just like my main like constant theme that I've had for the past over 10 years now. Um, and it was just because those sets were affordable and also, relatively small. This is beautiful with the caveat that it is taking up a much more significant amount of your space. And I'm sure there are people who can pull off designs, but if you already have, a room or a shelf just full of Legos, and you want something like this, or you just want another architecture set, you're kind of out of luck unless you somehow manage to get, that foot and a half of shelf space. Which is, it's possible. Thankfully Legos are easy to move around, but I do want them overall to shift, not necessarily to shift away from these really, well designed, or sorry, I misspoke, really detailed large architecture sets, but I do want them to also reintroduce some of the smaller ones. Um, I would love the Skylines to come back, but I also don't want it to just be. I don't want the small sets to just be the Skylines. I also want the return of those like smaller landmark sets, you know. But at the same time, I would love. The first thing that comes to mind is the Seattle Space Needle. I'd love for them to remake that, but I want them to do it with more detail, and so there comes the size issue. Thankfully, that one's, that actually brings me to a good point. This isn't scripted, if you couldn't tell that. Sorry. That brings me to a good point, though. This issue could be resolved by doing more skyscraper sets, like the 2019 Empire State Building. Um, you go up instead of down, and that way, I mean, if you have a shelf, it's kind of hard, but if you have some table space or even desk space, skyscraper set wouldn't be that bad. The issue with that one then becomes the repetition, just the similar design on like each face of the building. But they could pick, a uniquely designed sort of building like the Shard in London or something like that to kind of spice it up. So all in all, I'm really happy with the design, and I'm really happy that architecture is getting back into it instead of just doing a skyline, like releasing one or two skyline sets a year like they were, I don't know, like 3 years ago. But I also do want them to take a step back from only doing these larger, more expensive sets, just because I feel like it's kind of turning some people off, um, pushing some people out. But yeah, thanks for watching. Actually, thank you a lot for watching because this is very different from the content that I would usually post to my channel. I've never made a Lego video on this channel before. So we'll see how this goes. I would love to make more Lego content, probably not in this format, just because I feel like, I kind of do a little bit tangential. Um, but yeah, let me know if you're interested in more Lego content. I mean, it could be literally anything Lego related. I would love suggestions. Love to hear thoughts, complaints, whatever you have on your mind about this video and Lego in general, because Lego is awesome and I do have a spending problem. Thank you again for watching. This is Eli Vanexis signing off. Okay, I figured it out, looked it up. Neuschwanstein. 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 Neusch. I give up.